Hello everyone, I'm Shruti Ramanujam from the Exchange Reporter Plus team of Manage Engine. So thank you very much for joining today's session, the first in a series of workshops on how you can effectively use Exchange Reporter Plus to report on your Exchange environment. Before I get into how exactly you can use Exchange Reporter Plus for efficient management of your Exchange environment, please note that if you have any questions, you can shoot them out through the chat box at the right side of your screen. I'll be more than happy to answer them immediately. If not, we'll get back to you with the solution after the session through an email. Since this is the first session, I will be beginning with a brief introduction about Exchange Reporter Plus. You can access the product from a web browser on your machine. To make this workshop more hands-on, I will be sending you a link to practice on through chat. Also key in the credentials that I send through chat and you can access the product over the course of the workshop. So this is the link I will be sending you and the credentials will also be sent. Click on login. Right. So once you log in, you are welcomed by the dashboard. This home tab gives you a quick overview about the important reports of Exchange Reporter Plus in the form of bar graphs, pie charts, and tables. So you have alerts on the status of the health of services such as Exchange service and mail flow at the top of this page. And this is followed by graphical representations of essential reports such as server storage usage, top 10 mailboxes by size, organization traffic summary both by the number of messages and the size of messages, and and the top server traffic based on the messages sent and the messages received. You also have quick links on the right hand side of your screen and you can easily click on any link and you'll immediately be taken to that report. So, Exchange Reporter Plus boasts of more than 150 unique reports. For easier navigation, these reports have been classified based on their functionalities into three main tabs. There's the Reports tab, the Audit tab, and the Monitoring tab. Let us first look at the Reports tab. So, the Reports tab, it contains a host of reports that provide unique complete information about every detail of your Exchange organization. The reports under this tab fall under one of the 8 different categories that you can see on the left-hand side. So the categories are mailboxes, OWA and active sync, email traffic, storage, distribution lists, public folders, organization, and Office 365. The mailbox report gives you a complete insight into the mailbox objects in your organization. You name any mailbox information that you may require from the mailboxes in your organization and you have reports here to cater for it. So you have the general reports wherein say you need to find out all the mailbox enabled users in your organization. You would use the mailbox enabled users report under the general reports in the mailboxes category. Other important information such as the size of your mailboxes, how much they've grown over a period of time, and all of this is also displayed here under this category. Other information about the status of your account, mailbox accounts, such as whether they're inactive, whether they're disconnected, or if they have expired or if they're about to expire, all of this information is summarized in the form of reports under this category. Other information such as a folder message count and size, which shows sometimes you may need to find out the number of messages present within particular folders in your Exchange organization and also the size of these messages. That can be done through the folder message count and size reports provided by Exchange Reporter Plus. And you can also search for emails based on their subject keyword or body keyword, or sometimes you may have a company policy wherein you wouldn't want certain emails, certain attachments to be included in email messages that are sent. So it may exceed a particular type or a particular file extension which is not allowed. So you can search for that using the attachments by file extension keyword and find the email. And other information such as permissions set on mailboxes and the users who've been assigned permissions, and these two can also be found using the permission reports of Exchange Reporter Plus. The next category is OWA and Active Sync. Using this, you can find out general information such as the logon by users, how the users who use OWA to log on to your network, the browser that they logged on from, the client IP that they used, and also the server-based logon and other information based on OWA logons. So if you have a suspicious amount of entries from a client IP, from a particular client IP, and you can find out if it is something to be worried about or not. And you can also find other information such as logon count per department, which shows based on your departments, it shows how many users have logged on, the count of users who have logged on. And other general details about active sync are also provided by this category, such as the device that was used to connect to the network, the device policy application status, and if the active sync devices were inactive for a particular period of time. The next category is email traffic, which you can use to get information about anything related to email traffic in your organization, such as inbound and outbound emails, the server traffic, the overall traffic both to and from internet, and normal mailbox traffic by department. You name it and we have a report for it under this category. The next category is the storage reports. Any details about the databases, the mailbox and public folder databases, their growth, the database split up, and all of it can be seen here. And also the storage of the server storage and how much the server storage has grown over a period of time can be found using this category, the reports under this category. Information about distribution lists can be found from the distribution lists tab, and you can find several information such as the members of distribution groups. If there is a distribution list that has been inactive, you can find it by easily clicking on this link and generating the report. Information about public folders and the list of public folders, the mail-enabled public folders, and other general reports about public folders can be found through the public folders category, wherein you can look at the messages and you can find all the messages in your organization based on a subject keyword or a body keyword. And just like under mailbox content reports here too, you can find out the public folders based on attachments and the file name of the attachments, the extension of the attachments, and so on. Permissions that have been set on public folders, such as your administrative permissions or client permissions. For when you have to focus on security and all of that, you may need to know information such as this, and for that you can use these two reports. And to get a complete insight about objects in your organization, you can use the reports under the organization category, which provides a bird's eye view of every detail relating to objects in your organization, such as about administrative groups, routing groups, database availability groups, and so on. And we also have the Office 365 category. Once again, for you may need to find mailbox enabled users under Office 365, and you could use this report and so on. So this is it about the reports tab. The next tab is the audit tab. So keeping the Exchange environment secure is the first and foremost thought in every administrator's head. How are you going to easily track unauthorized or accidental mailbox logon attempts? How are you going to track changes to mailbox permissions or changes to mailbox properties? You guessed it, you could use the auditing solution provided by Exchange Reporter Plus to do so. So use this auditing solution to track and report on various Exchange events such as mailbox logons, mailbox permission changes, mailbox properties changes, and Exchange database changes. So if you suddenly need to find out if there is someone who doesn't own a particular mailbox, if it is not his own mailbox and he is logging on to it, you could use the non-owner mailbox logon report to find out information about this user. If permissions have suddenly been changed where you would have assigned say send as permission and someone has gone and changed these permissions to full access, it could be a security breach and you may need to find out who exactly brought about these permission changes in your organization. And for that you could use the reports under the mailbox permission changes category. Other changes relating to the properties of mailboxes, such as whether the mailboxes were activated, deactivated, or if they were moved, can be found using the reports under mailbox properties changes. under database changes to see if the databases have been mounted or dismounted, and if there have been changes to server configuration, such as changes to circular logging or changes to send and receive connectors. All of this could be found using the Exchange Databases Changes report. So the next tab that we are going to look at is the Monitoring tab. Day in and day out, your Exchange environment undergoes constant modification. And you can get a clear picture of the health of components in your Exchange organization through the reports available under this tab. You are first welcomed by a dashboard for all the monitoring reports, and this provides quick information about important reports under the monitoring category. So when you quickly need to know exactly what's going on when it comes to monitoring objects in your Exchange organization, you could use this. And there are also reports provided, such as the DAG monitoring reports for your database availability groups. There's the server monitoring reports, which is divided into two parts. You can monitor both the health and the connectivity status using the server monitoring reports. So say if you want to check the connectivity status of active sync devices, you could use the active sync connectivity report provided by server monitoring reports. Next is the database monitoring reports about database backup and Exchange search health and so on. And the two other categories that we have are the storage monitoring reports when it comes to database sizes and server volume and so on, and the email monitoring reports. So this was just a quick overview of how Exchange Reporter Plus works. We will be getting up close and personal with the different functionalities of Exchange Reporter Plus in this workshop series. That said, let us now look at the topics that will be covered in today's workshop. By the end of this session, you will know how to use Exchange Reporter Plus to identify the top 10 mailboxes by their sizes and growth. You will know how you can get real-time notifications when mailboxes in your organization reach their size limits. You will be able to find all the inactive mailboxes in your organization. You will be able to list out users who have specific permissions on particular mailboxes. You will be able to find the size of mailbox and public folder databases, find the server size, and the growth of these three entities over a particular period of time. And you will also be able to find the orphaned and disconnected mailboxes in your organization and also find the size of these mailboxes. So the first topic that we will be looking at is how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus to find the top 10 mailboxes by their sizes and growth. So, emails are a necessary tool for communication in a workplace. Can you imagine a normal workday without emails? But email accounts can accumulate large amounts of data over a period of time, and you lose valuable storage space because of this. And this is where Exchange Reporter Plus's mailbox size reports help you out. I will now switch to the product screen. So to do this, click on the Reports tab of the product and go to the size reports category. This report comes under size reports. It's called mailbox size. So click on this category and the report will be generated. And this shows you all the mailboxes in your organization and the sizes of these mailboxes, the number of items present in these mailboxes, the date at which the report was generated, the name of the database, the server name, and details about your default storage limit. And if this weren't enough, it also shows you the top 10 mailboxes in graphical format at the top. So using this, you can see if there is any unprecedented increase in mailbox size. The size of the mailboxes is displayed in graphical format, and through this you get to know more clearly about the sizes of mailboxes in your organization. The next question on your lips would be how you can find out if the mailboxes in your organization have grown over time. You may want to know how fast the average users in your organization are consuming your storage space. And to do so, you can use the mailbox size growth report of Exchange Reporter Plus. And this report shows you the size of the mailboxes and how much they have grown. It shows both the initial size and the final size for a particular period that you can set. So the default period set here is this week. Click on the drop down menu and you have a number of options to set the periods. So you have this week, this month, the last 30 days, and the last 7 days, or a custom period which you can assign to find out the growth of mailboxes. So let's just go ahead and select last 30 days. And this shows all the mailboxes, their email ID, the initial and final size, and the growth of these mailboxes. The growth rate in percentage is displayed here. And this is also displayed in graphical format for you to quickly get this information without having to go through the report. And this is it for mailbox size. So we have seen how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus to see the size of mailboxes and also see how much they've grown. The next task for today is how you can get real-time alerts when mailboxes reach their size limits. Sometimes you may want to keep a running total of users with mailboxes that are nearing or have reached their size limits. Say you have an executive in your organization and he is receiving an email, but because the size limits have been reached, he is not able to read this email. And you wouldn't want any issues to arise. You would wait for maybe half an hour to go ahead and check exactly what's wrong. And instead of that, it would be so much more useful if you could get an alert every time the mailboxes in your organization are reaching a particular size limit. So for this, go to the monitoring tab of Exchange Reporter Plus, and the report we're looking for comes under the storage monitoring reports category on the left pane. So click on it and select the mailbox size report. So this report lists out the mailboxes and the size of the mailboxes in it. Let me select a particular time period for it. And based on this, so this is obtained in report format. So you can see this only when you go and click on the report and the data is generated. No, that is not what you want. You say you want to schedule this report. That is one option you could do with this report. Click on the schedule this report option on the top right corner, and where you can click on when you want the report to be generated and at what time. So say we're setting it for 10 a.m. and you can, the report storage path, let's just leave it at the default path that has been set. You can select a report format such as PDF, CSV, XLS or HTML, and you can also choose this report to be emailed to you at a particular time. No. And enter your email ID here, the subject and the message, and you would get the report as an email to you. And this is still not enough. You want a real-time alert. You need to know that mailboxes have reached a particular size limit. How would you do that? You could do that through the alerts provision of Exchange Reporter Plus. It's present in the left pane at the bottom. So click on the alerts tab. Exchange Reporter Plus already has certain built-in alerts which you could look at by clicking on the Customize Alert Profiles button. And now you want to set an alert for mailbox size. So for that, click on the New Alert Profile at the top right corner, and you can enter in the name, say mailbox size alert. And let me just copy paste this as the description too. You can select the severity of this alert. Let's say it's trouble, or you could still call it critical. Select the report for which you want the alert to be generated by clicking the plus button. The category is of course storage monitoring, and the mailbox size reports under storage monitoring. And click on the mailbox size report because this is what you want the alert for. And once you set that, the threshold or the criteria is shown. And you can select any one of these criteria for when you want to be alerted. So you would be alerted if you select issue warning when quota exceeds. So you will be alerted when it exceeds the issue warning quota. Or you could select prohibit send quota exceeds if you want an alert when the mailbox size exceeds the prohibit send quota that you have set. Or you could also use the prohibit send and receive quota, or if you don't want any of these three, you could set a custom limit by clicking on size exceeds and entering in the size that you would like to be alerted about when the mailboxes in your organization exceed them. So let's just select prohibit send quota exceeds, and you could also configure it so that you get an email notification every time it's done, every time the mailboxes are exceeding a particular size. So enter in your email ID. I'll just enter in mine. And you can enter in a custom subject. Let's just call it size alert for now and click on create. And you will be alerted from now on whenever the mailboxes in your organization exceed a particular size limit. And that's it for storage monitoring and how you can get real-time alerts every time the sizes of mailboxes exceeds a particular limit. And from now on, using this report, you can efficiently plan your capacity. Capacity planning can be done in a more easier way, and meeting compliance requirements also becomes easier. The next task that we will be performing is so the next task that we will be performing is to finding out the inactive mailboxes in your organization. Sometimes it may be necessary to find all the inactive mailboxes in your organization. And why would you need to do that? Your Exchange databases may be growing too big, or you may be migrating to, say, Office 365. Or there's an internal audit going on to see who has what licenses, and you don't want any of these dormant mailboxes to be hogging on licenses that could be better used somewhere else. And this is where Exchange Reporter Plus comes in to help you out. So click on the Reports tab, and the report that we're looking for comes under the Account Status Reports property, and click on Inactive Mail. There are two options available here. You have inactive mailboxes by the last logon time, and you also have inactive mailboxes by the last sent mail. So let's click on inactive mailboxes by last logon time. And this report generates all the inactive mailboxes for a particular custom period that you set. By default, Exchange Reporter Plus uses 35 days as the inactive period, but you could also set some other period based on your company policy. And this lists out all the mailboxes that have been inactive for this period of 35 days. It also shows their email ID. It shows the last log on time, and also if the users of this mailbox have never logged on to that particular mailbox. It also shows the server and the mailbox database names. And this is how you can find out all the inactive mailboxes. And there may be times when you would use antivirus tools to scan your mailboxes periodically. This would completely mess up your last logon time, and you won't get a clear-cut information about inactive mailboxes. And under such a condition, you could use the inactive mailboxes by last sent mail report. And this is how you use Exchange Reporter Plus to find your inactive mailboxes. The next question that we will be resolving now is how you can get a list of users who have full access and send as permissions on particular mailboxes. What do you do for this? You may be preparing to migrate from one Exchange server version to another, or you would like to track if the delegate assigned to an important mailbox has excessive permissions, way more than necessary. And this could lead to data loss or worse, leaks in your organization. Whatever be your reason, you could use the permission reports. Under the reports tab again, we have two kinds of permission reports. We have the permissions based on mailboxes and permissions based on users. So permissions based on mailboxes shows you all the Active Directory users or groups who have permissions over particular mailboxes that you select. So click on the select button and click on a set of mailboxes. I'm just going to go ahead and select all the mailboxes for now. Click on OK. And this lists out all the Active Directory users or groups who have certain access rights over the particular mailboxes that you have selected here. And it also shows if these access rights were inherited or explicit. Say there's someone who's inherited a permission, but you don't want that person to have that particular access right. So you could use this report to find out that this has happened and make sure that the permission is removed for that person. So as you can see, it lists out that all kinds of access rights for these Active Directory users or groups. And say you just want to find out the users who have full access permission. And for that, you can use the filter button. It's present in the top right corner. Click on the filter button and you can see this. It says select access rights equals and all. For now, all access rights have been set as the filter. You could filter it out just for any one of these access rights. So let's select full access, and this lists out all the users who have full access rights over the mailboxes that you have chosen. And once again, it shows whether it has been inherited or explicit. and all of that. And for any kind of access right you want, you could find out by setting the filter, modifying the filter rights. And another thing that you could also do is look at the permissions based on users report. And the previous one was for mailboxes, and this lists out the permissions for a particular set of users that you select. So take Angus in this example, and we are going to see what access rights Angus has over mailboxes in your organization. So Angus has send as access rights over a mailbox called Roosevelt Theodore, and you can see whether this access right was inherited or explicit. So it says it wasn't inherited. It was an explicit access right assigned to this user Angus over this mailbox. And you can also favorite this report using the add to button at the top right corner. There's another option you could perform where you could export it as CSV, PDF, XLS or HTML format. You could also print out the report, and all of this can be done using this report. And this is how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus to look at permissions assigned for users on particular mailboxes. The next task that we're going to do is how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus to find the size of mailbox databases, find the size of public folder databases and servers, and also track the growth of these three entities over a custom period that you set. And your Exchange databases, we know that they are the fundamental storehouse for all your mailbox and public folder data. Say the size of your mailboxes are growing at a very abnormal rate, and you need to find out what exactly is going wrong in your organization. This is where you would use the mailbox database reports. Click on the report tab again, and under the storage category, the 8 different categories that you have on the left side, click on the fourth category, that is storage. And you can see a number of reports here. The report we're looking for is the mailbox database report. So click on this report, and this generates a list of mailboxes, mailbox databases, the size of the databases, the number of mailboxes hosted by these databases, the server name, and any of the rules such as issue warning at, prohibit send and receive at, and so on. And this is also customized, and this is also summarized into graphical format using the chart present on top. And all of this helps you out in determining the size of mailbox databases in your organization. And since you found out that the mailbox databases are growing abnormally, you would want to see how exactly they're growing. And for that, you could use the mailbox databases growth report to see both the initial and final size of your mailbox databases, and you could figure out where exactly it is going wrong. You can see the initial database size, the final database size, and the growth rate in percentage for each of these mailbox databases. This is also shown in graphical format here. So you can see that this mailbox database has grown between 27th and 28th of September at a pretty big rate. And you could, after this, you could go in and find out exactly what's going wrong, and if it is still adhering to company policies or if it is something you should be alarmed about. And for all of this, this report helps you out. And just like for mailbox databases, you can also look at the sizes of your public folder databases. This also lists out the name of your public folder database and the size of the public folder database and storage groups, server names, and administrative groups, and all of this. This is also displayed in graphical format as always at the top of the report. The growth of your public folder databases could be seen using your public folder database growth report. And once again, you can set a custom period for this. You have a custom period. You can also select other periods such as this week, this month, last month, and so on. Select any one period, and this lists out the database name, the initial database size, the final database size, and the growth rate in percentage. And once again, there's a graph for it. And when you need to find the server sizes, say your servers are under an abnormal amount of load and you need to first look at how your server storage is in your organization, you could use the server storage report. And this lists out your server name, the total volume size, the total volume used, the percentage of volume used, the total database size, and the percentage volume used by these databases. And it is also available in graphical format at the top of the report. And because the servers are under an abnormal amount of load, how do you find out that it is abnormal? If your servers are under an abnormal amount of load within a very short span of time, this is something you would like to keep track of. And this is where you would use the server storage growth report, which again lists out your server name, the initial database usage, the final database usage, and the growth rate in percentage. And you can go in and find out exactly what is going wrong with the servers in your organization. And this is how you use the storage category of the reports under Exchange Reporter Plus to look at database sizes and their growth over a period of time. The next task that we will be looking at, the final task, is about how you can find out all the orphaned or disconnected mailboxes in your organization. You may want to find these mailboxes to reconnect them to the same user account. You may want to connect them to a different user account, or you may want to remove the mailbox permanently so that you can use the white space in the database for something else. So you can find out all the disconnected mailboxes in your organization using Exchange Reporter Plus by clicking on the Reports tab. And under the Account Status category, you have the Disconnected Mailboxes report. Click on it. And this lists out all the mailboxes in your organization that have been disconnected. You can see which user last logged on to this mailbox. You can see when exactly this user logged on to this mailbox. You can see the number of items present in this disconnected mailbox, the size of the disconnected mailbox, and the time at which it was disconnected from the user account. So that's it for today's topics. Let's have a quick recap of what exactly we looked at in today's workshop. So we saw how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus to identify the top 10 mailboxes, both based on their sizes and their growth. We saw how you can get real-time alerts when these mailboxes reach their size limits. We saw how you can find out inactive mailboxes in your organization based on their last logon time. We saw how you can get a list of users based on the permissions that they have been assigned over particular mailboxes, and specifically both for full access and send as permissions. We saw how you can find the sizes of mailbox and public folder databases, the size of servers, and the growth over a period of time. We also saw how you can find out the orphaned or disconnected mailboxes and their sizes. So in next week's workshop, we will mainly focus on auditing your Exchange environment. We will see how you can audit non-owner logons, property changes such as the mailboxes that have been activated, deactivated, or moved. We will see how you can audit server configuration changes such as changes to hub transport settings or changes to your send and receive connectors and so on. At the end of this session, I will be sending you a feedback form. Do fill it and send it back to us. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, do feel free to contact us. We will be more than happy to help you out. A recording of this session will also be available on YouTube in a while. I will be meeting you guys again next week with a fresh set of topics. Until then, thank you.